All right. Just stats. Reggie Johnson, Eugene Moore, coming to you from Love City of Atlanta, Georgia. And Eugene, we have changes coming in the league, changes coming to contending teams, changes coming to our home team here in Atlanta, changes coming in Houston. Just a lot of changes, a lot of free agent changes. This time of the year is kind of hard to keep up with all the moves, right? Their moves are flying off. Some a little more surprising than others. We'll start with the Lakers here. The DeAndre Ayton signing was a little bit of a surprise to me, but not when I saw the details. Okay, so when I saw the details that the Lakers were only on the hook for $8 million. Now, I think DeAndre Ayton, he's scheduled to make 34 total. Okay, 34
Right.
total, but Portland's going to eat a significant amount of that. I don't think he's worth $34 million. I do think he can be worth 8, though. I think he can be worth 8 in the right situation. In the right situation, I think that when you look around what $8 million can buy you in the league, I think you can get that out of him. I got to look at his stats to see. But the biggest issue I've had with him, and I've had him on my fantasy team here a couple of years, and I could tell you my biggest issue with him is non-participation. He's just not playing the games. It seems like from the year that he was in the league or in that championship with CP3 with the Suns, I don't know if he's ever got back to that form, man. It seems like he's kind of like regressed. He was balling, and they really needed him to ball too. They needed him during that run.
Right.
But I don't know if he's returned to that kind of form since he's been back or in the past few years. He's played 40 games last year, 55 games the year before. So 95 games the last 2 years, 67, 58, 69, I think, maybe 69, 58. I've got to look at that and see if that was that run I'm looking at. I don't know if that was the year of the run, but he's all about under 70 games, 55. If he can get to 55, 60 games, he averaged 14 and 10. Let's look at his average for last year. 14 and 10, averaging about 30 minutes a game when he did play. Get you a couple of assists here. I think that's worth $8 million. I think at 14 and 10, if he can get that to even at 40, even if you can play half a season, especially if you can because the season, depending on where you play that season, means a lot, right? The first 40 games, or you playing that last 40 games? I prefer you play the last 40 that you play the first. If you have to miss them, I'd rather you miss the first than you miss that last. Because usually when you miss the last, you're in a playoff push of some sort, and you really need your horses. And if you do go into that playoff push and you do happen to have postseason success, you're gonna need him to play, right? You're gonna hopefully he's there for that run for you. So what are your thoughts on this initially? I mean, I saw it. It was kind of like, I don't know what the Lakers are doing here. But $8 million made me kind of turn around on that. I think that he's probably worth that, but I also think it's just 1 year. I mean, I don't know really what they have to lose here.
Yeah, well, they ran out of options, right? They kind of sat out on the center free agent market. I mean, we watched them in the playoffs. That was the glaring thing they needed. And they kind of sat around and waited. And now you're getting a guy. You're getting a guy that Portland couldn't trade. No one wanted him. So they had to buy him out to just, so here you go. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we gotta take this guy because he's the only guy left. And yeah, if I'm a Lakers fan, I'm not particularly excited. But I mean, maybe being with LeBron, maybe you get some of that back. Because you're right, when he was with Phoenix, CP3 was pushing him. They were trying to get him more engaged. That's always been his issue is his engagement. And he's been on record for saying, look, only thing I want to do is get to my second contract and I'm good. He got to his second contract, and that's my thinking is does he even care about playing beyond this one? So I mean, you're right. I mean, Lakers it's only $8.1 million flyer. You're not, if he comes in,
not breaking the bank on the guy.
You're not breaking the bank.
I don't know what you could expect from an $8 million guy anyway, to be honest with you.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of sad with the way you thought, okay, how the Lakers end of the season, how they went in the playoffs. Yeah, they wanted to play better against Minnesota, obviously, but they were like, okay, look, we see our glaring issue. We need
You just got
some rim
exposed.
protection.
That issue got exposed.
It got exposed.
And it's an issue that we've all they knew it because that's when they tried to
Right.
get Williams and he failed the physical, right? From
Mhm.
Charlotte. He
Right.
failed the physical. They were very aware of when they sent away Davis that was going to leave a gap. Was going
Right.
to leave them undersized. Yeah, and they tried to address it. The Williams situation didn't really work out. You look at this free agent market for centers. Who did you have? They had Clint Capella because Clint went, right? Clint went back to Houston, didn't he? Was that
Clint went back to Houston. I mean, even
who else was out here that we could say center right? That's like bona fide center wise.
I mean, you have Porzingis, but that,
free agent market.
Yeah, you have Porzingis, but it's $30. He had $30 million, and they're already paying 3 guys that were just taking well into the tax. So you're probably not going to bring him in, but there were just guys sitting there, that they could have gotten. We just look at Houston. Houston went and got. I think we're going to talk. I mean, look at their depth. Like they went and got, centers to another center with Capella, and they also got another guy just to get in there. They got guys.
So Naz Reid, Miles Turner. So DeAndre Ayton, Miles Turner, Brook Lopez, Naz Reid, Quint Capella, Mo Wagner.
Yeah,
were available.
And so then
Naz went back to the Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Mo Wagner's still out there. Valanciunas is out there.
Valanciunas was traded to Denver.
Okay, so what about and did Hartenstein stay with? What is Hartenstein's contract situation? I'm pretty sure that OKC is locking him down now, right?
He's not going.
He had a situation where he was already locked down, or maybe he needed to be locked down this year. Miles Turner's situation is kind of interesting. We'll talk about the Bucks. And what's also interesting is Brook Lopez. I think is worth a look. Brook Lopez will be a good fit for them.
Or even
where is he at? Where did he go? Did he sign with the team?
No, yeah, they're I think Golden State. I think got him, but there you go. So you had 2 guys kind of sitting there that you got probably maybe a little more. Maybe you get Brook Lopez, maybe you get Al Horford. You get guys in. I just think it's just they just sat around and did nothing. They were just guys sitting out there and just Valanciunas is like you said. I mean, goes to Denver. How great is that? That you get some rest minutes for Jokic. You got a guy you come in and just pick up some minutes, and you're not just killing yourself with Jokic. Having to be out there all the time. So there were just guys out there that could have helped them out on the rim protection side of it. Then they just kind of just balked at everybody.
I don't think that the Ayton thing is a total whiff. I think that if he plays and he gives them what he's done, he's a career 14, 16 point, 10, 11 rebound guy. Like he's going to get you about, let's just call it 15 and 10, 15 and 11, somewhere around there.
Right.
He's going to get you that. I think that's all right. I think that's serviceable. And I think it's an upgrade. The problem is just, will he play? But the thing is, you had that same problem with the other guy that you just traded. Like you didn't know if Anthony Davis was going to play, and he was there. So I would have to look at the games. I think Anthony Davis has been playing relatively more healthy than Ayton has been. But I need to look at that and see to make sure. I really need to look at that Anthony Davis and see how many games he had missed in the last few years here, because when you think about that, he's a better player. They're not in the same class. Anthony Davis and DeAndre Ayton aren't in the same class. Anthony Davis is a much better player.
Mm-hmm.
But they both been plagued by these injury issues, so that's the only comparison I'm drawing. And Anthony Davis, the same situation. He's had, you can argue just looking at the games here. He had that one season where he played 76 games. It's 23-24 season. Pump fake right there. 76 games. That was the first time he played over 70 in about 6-7 years. But that's a lot of people don't play 70 though. So I think you get to about 60, between 65, 70. I'm gonna call that a decent season because not every guy's playing 70 games. But when you look at Davis, it looks like the Lakers are already used to this. Like when you look at Davis, and if I could put up what the games played by Davis next to what the games played by DeAndre Ayton have been, they're pretty similar. They're pretty similar in the amount of games. So the Lakers are used to guys at the center position missing games.
Right. But again, here was your chance to address it, and you kind of whipped and like said, "Oh well, I guess
Maybe they get 2 guys, you think? Like, how do you think they make sure that you're not dealing with that in and out of the lineup? If you get an Ayton, do you get another guy that you kinda just you get a Brook Lopez, somebody to kinda back up the Ayton situation, make sure.
Lopez is gone. He's already signed,
Yeah,
so
he
they
is.
lost
True.
out. Right,
That
so
would
they
have been
lost out on
amazing,
that.
though. I'm really kinda pissed they didn't really lock that down, but I don't know the details of that. I'm not sure if that was even ever a reality. Sometimes you look at these things and to us they make so much sense. But in the real world, maybe there's negotiations, maybe there's something that breaks down, maybe something just happening behind the scenes where these things aren't as possible as we think they are. But it definitely seems like a situation where they're at least trying. They're trying to address it. I think that as you're exiting the LeBron era here, you gotta make more steps to address things, and I think you're kind of building more so around Luka now, right? You're kind of
Yeah,
LeBron's there, and you don't know if LeBron will give you another 1 or 2 seasons, but you can't be running the Lakers now, especially with that new ownership group coming in with LeBron in mind, right? You kind of have to be like, this is gonna be Luka's team, and we need to
right.
start building for that. And maybe this is one of the things they think that they need to do. But with a 1 year deal, you don't. There's not really commitment here. This is $8 million. This is 1 year. This is definitely dating. They definitely had not married, so I'm not even sure if this is really a situation. We'll have to see how this plays out the next season and see if they have a success that'll make them want to make this a little bit longer situation. Uh, Another situation that we thought was going to be a little bit longer was the Milwaukee Bucks situation with Damian Lillard. Man, now this is interesting. Okay, because one of the things that I was reading on this is the Bucks decided to release Lillard using the stretch provision to manage his
Hmm.
contract and create
Right.
cap space for the Turner signing. So they're instead of paying him $113 million over 2 years, they're going to spread that over 5 seasons, roughly 22.6 per year. So he's not going to be in the bread line anytime soon. He's still getting his money. No need to cry for Dame. And I think that he's an unrestricted free agent. So this is not a terrible situation for Dame. I'm gonna tell you why it's not a terrible situation for Dame. Because he's probably gonna miss next year anyway.
Yeah, he's already
Anyway,
missing
probably
it.
gonna miss next
Hmm.
year. Or a
Right.
good portion of next year anyway. You take your time, you're already getting paid, you get back good, you figure out your next move. What's the best move for you and your family? Where do you want to
Hmm.
go? Do you want to go to a contender? What do you want to do? Um, and you're unrestricted.
Right. You go anywhere.
You can go anywhere, right? So at his age, I think he's what 34. I think he's 34. I don't know if he'll be 35 going into the basketball season, but let's see, 34. Yeah, so he turns
Okay.
35 July 15th.
Okay. So it's
Okay,
right around the corner.
so let's say then let's go a year. Now, if you're in Milwaukee and you're looking at that year to say, well, you're not coming back to about 36, and we don't know what it's going to be at that point, right? I'd imagine 36, you come back, you got at least somebody's willing to give you 2 to 3 year deal, right? And get you at least to that 36, 7, 8 range. You know what I mean? Depending on how you're playing, depending on if the jump shot's still working. A lot of these players, they go because Dame's a player that's definitely is a high flyer, man. He'll dunk it on you, but he can shoot too. So he can lean on that skill set. That keeps you in the league. It extends your life in the league if you learn how to get that jump shot going for you. And a lot of times these players, Eugene, are smarter as they age too. So they're leaning a lot on basketball knowledge, on basketball IQ.
Hmm.
And I think that's something that Dame was going to be able to do. It's interesting now, and it's not really even going to be a story now, and I don't really even think it should, to be honest with you, because as fascinating as it will be to see where he's going to go next, there's so many questions between now and when he would actually suit up for whatever team that would be. You'd have a ton of things that's going to happen between now and then.
Right.
So if you're him, do you sit out and just wait a little bit? Like, do you rush this process? Do you just wait and see how things play out, or are you trying to get to another city as quick as possible? All right, what do you think? Or how
Um.
would you approach it? You can't know what he's thinking, but how would you? What would be that? Would you think like, hey, you just go try to get this new situation locked down as quick as possible. Me personally, I got the flexibility of a 5-year contract or the flexibility of $100 million that kind of eases this decision for me. And the time to know that I got to be in rehab anyway. So I can't, not like I can go play for any team, no matter what choice I made. So I would probably want to take my time with it. But maybe he doesn't, man. Maybe teams are like, hey, we want to get this locked down before it gets crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make sense for him or even a team to lock him down right now. It's just because you're locking down an injured player for a year. It doesn't really make sense. So when I read, it's like I think he wants to take his time and just rehab, get back, and just hit the market next year, which I think is smart. I mean, and plus
so
he's already making $22 million, so now he can kind of pick his own team, and he doesn't have to he can go to a team that's missing a shooter. Let's just say, I don't know, something like a Denver or just
and just plug himself in, right?
Just plug himself in, and he's not clear cap. He can go in any situation, and this could be a time where he can go, let me pick the best team where I can get the ring. I can get the chip, because I think that's ultimately, if I'm him the next 2 years, because whatever contract he's getting, it's going to be probably like a 2-year contract. Maybe maybe the first year is going to be a guarantee, but the second year is going to be a lot of probably incentive lays, but which is fine because he's already making 22 million. So it's not like he's going to be like, I know he's not I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's looking for that top end contract anymore, right? Because he's going to be 36. I don't see him going, if he's smart, he's going to be looking for the team that can give him the championship, and he can make. We'll pay him respectably. Overall, obviously, he's not going to pick the league minimum, but he's not going to be in that 20. Maybe he'll be in 30. He's not going to be in 30 millions, but maybe you kind of match what he's getting, like that 22, and so he's kind of if he gets around 20, he's getting 22 from the Bucks, and you're kind of right back in that $40 million range. I can see him doing. I can see a team taking a flyer for $20 million. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Because I could see it going more. I can see him getting it to 30, depending on what the team is and how convinced that team is that they're close enough. I could see a 2 years to 75, man. I could see it depending on how it falls. But if you're already getting the 22 from the Bucks, I'm not itching to match any more from the team. I'll probably give you 10 to 15, $20 billion.
No, I'm gonna be like, hey, why don't you come here?
40-ish, maybe.
Right, you'll be our bench guy. We'll have you come in those later, the early first quarter, second quarter. I just don't see being a starter, being at 36, coming off the Achilles injury. I just don't see that.
Really, man? I think he will be, man.
You think he will be? I look at him more being like I think
Dame will go back to being a starter. I do think though that you never know with these injuries how it's rough looking at what past players have recovered from it because every person's different. You know what I mean?
Right.
You look at some players you can recover from pretty serious injuries. Like I forgot how many injuries Kevin Durant had, but he just comes back and just comes back to being Kevin Durant. So it's hard to look at these comparisons, but sports medicine seems like it's gotten better and better. You're seeing more and more. It used to be some of these used to be death sentences back in the day for your career, and that just hasn't been 100%. You see some wear off, but not 100% to the point where they're just like trash or something. So I think if Dame even gets back to 75, 80%, I think he's still starting somewhere. It's hard for me to say that an 80% Dame Lillard, like that everybody on your roster is better than an 80% Dame Lillard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I feel like even if he's that fifth guy, even if maybe he's a sixth guy, but I think that there's a chance that he could still start, but a lot of it will depend on kind of how he does come off that injury in the sense of how he plays. He's an explosive player.
Right.
So that kind of remains to be seen, right? You don't really know for sure there without actually seeing the recovery, but I'm hoping that he does. And I'm thinking that a team can use his expertise, man. A team can use his expertise. A team that can use a guy who's played in high pressure games, may not have had that postseason success that we would hope for in a career that he's had. But I do think he can get you some buckets when you need them. Clutch situations, Eugene, right? You put him in the playoffs. Does the other team really want to see that guy? out there, they're going to have to pay attention to him. They're not going to be able to just ignore him running around out there. So I'm hoping he does get back to some shape like that. Whether that actually happens kind of remains to be seen, man. I guess we'll have to see. And I would love to see where he goes, because another thing to that is when there's a chance, because I'm thinking he caught that injury. I'm trying to think, when did he catch that injury? Did he catch that injury earlier this year? Was it April, May?
No, it was the playoffs. He caught it in the Indiana series.
Yeah. Because if that's year to year, he's done.
Right. That's what
he's done, right? Because I was thinking best case scenario, if he can get back around the All-Star break for a team, that would be crazy, because teams would be going crazy around the trade deadline, around that area. I think teams would be going crazy to try to nail him, and teams still might, because he'll still be he'll be a lot closer than he is now. So teams still might. I could see that definitely being a headline around the time if he's just lurking out there. But that doesn't mean he's any closer to actually playing. So we're still in the very early days.
Right. Exactly.
Of the recovery here.
Yeah. He's already had surgery, rehabbing. Let's get to that point with shooting. But yeah, I mean, I see more of the Ray Allen going that route coming up, but we'll see. We just don't see guards age that well. That's the thing. So that's like point guards. That's the issue. So, but we'll see. Maybe he'll prove us wrong. But again, no matter what, he's gonna be a valuable asset no matter where he goes. That he's gonna be, because the shot's not gonna get lost. That's always gonna be there for him. So
yeah, I think though, and that's what you need, right? You might not be able to get it yourself the way that you used to. But if you're a reliable shot bucket getter for somebody else who can get you the shot, then that helps. That's an asset to teams.
Exactly.
Now this New York situation, it really fascinates me here, man, because when they fired Tom, we had a conversation about this. We had a conversation about how crazy it was when they fired the guy, because you know how I feel about this. And the guy gets you to the he leads the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. Quarter century, right? Quarter century. So now his replacement, in order to do better than him, has to go to the finals.
It has to go to finals.
If you don't go to the finals, you just did exactly the same thing he did, and he did it. And if you do it now, you kind of did it with his team a little bit here, right? You did it kind of with the kind of things that he's kind of put in place here. If you were to come in and have some immediate success with that, we all know it takes usually a little bit of time for coaches to come in and kind of get their system in, get things done the way they want to do, get their assistant coaches in, get their guys in that they might want from a player perspective. But this was interesting to me, and I don't know if this is maybe a Thibodeau personal situation, because he was on a 5-year, $40 million deal, man. He just signed it, I don't know when he signed a 3-year extension, right?
Just signed the extension. It's
interesting. It's very interesting, man, because I don't know if this is actually an upgrade here. We look at some of the statistics here on the screen as far as a 578 and 420 regular season record for Thibodeau, 454 and 304 regular season record. Mike Brown, from a percentage standpoint, was slightly higher percentage winning record. He has a slightly higher he has a better playoff record, finals appearance, and 2 Coach of the Year awards. Fired twice. Tibbs fired 3 times. 2 Coach of the Year awards for Tibbs as well. No finals appearances. 48 and 55 on a playoff record for Tibbs. But I think that I've gotten you to the place that you haven't been in a quarter century. Should have warranted at least another season. But maybe there's something personal going on. Usually stuff like this reeks of something going on behind the scenes, right? Like what do you think this was about? Especially being with who they got replaced with. Now you go out and get a Marky Gallo, and there's no knock on Mike Brown.
No, he's a solid coach, but he's your bridge coach. He's like your guy. You're like, okay, I'm going to bring in, have him come in with the young guys, have him get that playoff experience. Okay, you've gotten just to this point, but now we got to bring in just another guy. It's nothing against Mike. I think he's a good, but I think that's where he's always been. I think he's a top assistant guy. I just don't look at him going, okay, he's going to just turn the tables. And plus, it almost, and I'm not trying to put it in the same DeAndre Ayton, but it's just kind of the same situation where New York was calling everybody, and everyone was hanging up the phone, and it's like, and the funny thing I heard was like, man, New York's called everybody. They wish they could do like a control Z on the whole Thibodeau thing, where they could just reverse this whole thing and go back and have him, because it's like why not? Okay, just have them and talk. It's like, all right, Tom, you got to start playing your bench. You got to do this. You cannot wear out your starters the whole year, and then go from there. And if he does it again in the next year, then yes, get rid of him. I understand. If you go to him, you got to play your bench. We're going to give you a better bench this year. You got to get those guys in. You can't keep relying on all these guys. And obviously the hit piece came out right after they were out of playoffs. Like there was a whole thing with him and Cat and him didn't get along. So you have that piece of it, but I don't know. It just,
You were talking about getting Cat out of there, man.
Right, exactly. So it's just when I saw, I was like, I have nothing. I have respect Mike Brown. I think he's a solid coach. I just don't think, like you said, if you don't take him to, I'm sorry, you don't take him to the finals, and especially now in the offseason, they've bolstered their bench. Now there's no excuses. Now you've got your 5 starters coming back. You already have them under contract. Now you improved the bench now a little bit. So there should be no excuses, but now you're like, oh, but I didn't like it. It's a reach, and it was like, it's a reach because he was the last one left. Because you saw right when, right when he was let go, what was it? I think the Cleveland's assistant got picked up right away from Phoenix. Like Phoenix took him right. It's like as soon as Tom got fired, it's like the next. I feel like it was an hour the next day. The Cleveland assistant got picked up right away by Phoenix. So you already had one of the top assistants already gone, and now all the coaches, like all the teams, like, no, sorry, you can't talk to our coach. We're happy with our guys. No, you messed up. Sorry, you got to deal with it. So I don't know.
Well, I think Mike could end up being a decent situation for them. Mike was unceremoniously fired from the Kings in a similar situation where he had led them to the promised land. They were sucked. They haven't been as good since he left there, I don't think.
No, they have
when
not.
I look at what Mike Brown, I think that was, what was that, 23? What season was that? I think what season that was, but he led them to a couple of winning seasons, despite the fact that they weren't a winning franchise. So I think that, he has his ups and downs. I'll say that.
Yes.
He has ups and downs, because the thing is, that year, they missed the playoffs, but they were winning more games than they were typically are. The Kings typically Western Conference laughing stock, so to speak. But he made a respectable team there, and now maybe he gets a chance to do the same thing. But the problem is it was already done this year. It was already done by Tibbs this year. That would have been a great story if Mike Brown had came here a couple of years ago, right? But now that Mike Brown story has already played out this year, and it was the Tom Thibodeau story in New York, taking these guys to the promised land after a quarter century. So it's and then being shown the door like almost immediately too. The disrespect to that too, right? Like, I mean, you let the guy clean his office out. Like, did they show him? Did they have him escorted out by security? Like, it seemed like they really just wanted the guy just to leave. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. It's interesting to see what they got going on here in New York, because it's exciting when the Knicks are a good team. The fan base in New York's always excited for that. And you got to give it to New York. They've shown up for a lot of bum teams over the past few years, and they show up for a good team now, and the coach gets fired.
Right. And the Mike Brown year was the 2023. That was the whole, like, the beam season. They were just that was like the fun league pass team. And yes, and I give him credit, man. He took that team. It was kind of a bunch of ragamuffin guys, but they had some good guys on that team, and he did. He took them to the playoffs. They're a fun team in the playoffs, but like I said, I just feel like Sacramento hasn't done themselves any favor. They haven't even replace. It's like they didn't even replace him with a better guy. I don't think so. Um, I don't know. I like him. I hope he's successful, but just when I saw him like you with the last two, like when DeAndre Ayton got to the Lakers, like meh. When Mike Brown signed, I was like, yeah, okay, he's a good guy, but it just reminds me of those guys you just bring into like a Charlotte or whatever. Like get these guys playing. Like he's a good fundamental guy. He's a good X's and O guys. But I
Okay.
just don't look at him going in the trenches like during a playoff series. I just think he's going to get out coached by another better coach. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I mean,
Outcoached.
yeah, but he does have a better roster. So maybe that better roster does, it does heal a lot of wounds. It does shield a lot of mistakes. So
Yeah, covers up a lot, and
cover
it'll
up
be
cover up
interesting
a
to
lot.
see if that's the case here in New York. It's just that it was already playing out. Like the movie's already playing in New York. The movie's already happening, man. We already
Mhm.
had part one of the movie. We're in part two, and in that part two now it seems like I got a different director. Like, and now you got to hope for better results. But in New York, if you're a New York fan, minus getting to the finals, what is a better result? Like if you lose in Eastern Conference Finals again, there aren't really real. I mean, I guess for the moral victory people, if they perform better for our the moral victory crowd, maybe they can take something for that. But if you're into just actual victories and actual results, and you say, "Hey, the guy we just kicked out of here, who just led us to the promised land or closer to the promised land, the new guy at the least is expected to do the same."
Right. I mean, lucky for him, the East is going to be really weak this year. So I
And the
mean,
Knicks are a legit good team, especially they keep
and
Cat. I like Cat, by the way. So I will hope they keep Cat, but I don't know, man.
yeah,
That seems to be crazy too. Who knows?
right.
Maybe that'll be a situation where Cat joins the Lakers, and then they just have to deal. They have a 3-point shooting, but they just won't have anybody to really, I mean, Cat, he's at least 7 feet. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if he's a legit center there, but a lot of people have been saying that Atlanta's a sneaky team this year. They're like, oh man, be on the lookout for Atlanta. Talk always makes me nervous, but you know how I am about the Hawks, man. They're depressed me over the years. I
Mm-hmm.
liked the fact that the kid Richer wasn't a bum last year. I like the Dyson Daniels situation. I like the moves that we've been making so far. The Kristaps Porzingis is a move. I'm not as excited about that move and some of the other moves we made. We got what's Nickeil Alexander-Walker? Is that
Nikhil, oh my God, when they got that one, I was like,
Nickeil
I was
Alexander-Walker, and we got Luke Kennard. Got
and
some
Luke Kennard.
perimeter shooting with Kennard
Mm-hmm.
in the A. Somebody can probably get a bucket there from that 3-point line that's not named Trey. But I like where things are headed here. What got you more? You're definitely more excited about this than I am. Because I'm so much of a wait and see guy. Like I have to see it I have to see the games. I got to see them be played. You know what I mean? I have
Right.
to see what these guys look like. And but trajectory wise, it's hard to be mad at what's going on here, right?
No, you can't be mad. It's like they addressed everything we were just complaining about last year, right? We needed rim protection. We got it with Kristaps, right? We got so we got that right. That's covered. We needed bench depth, covered. Well, we needed defensive help when Trey's out, covered. I mean, they covered everything, and it's not like they got guys. Well, I'm not sure if these guys can play. They got guys that can play. That's the thing. Now, Porzingis, yes, that's your biggest question mark, and I will never,
Correct.
no,
Because
not
it's like
that's your
if he
biggest
will play.
if he will play. But
But he's
but
expiring contract, right? For him?
he's
Is he
expiring, right?
expiring contract for him?
He's
Or you
a
think we're
yes,
trying to
yes.
re-up him? What do you think the deal's on that? I don't want to fall
Like
into
you
the
said, I
trap,
think
man. I don't want to fall into the trap. You know the trap I'm
no,
talking about, where he gives us 70
exactly,
games this year, and then we sign him to like a 4-year contract. you,
exactly. No, no, no.
you know the trap I'm talking about, brother. The contract year 70, where the guy
Yeah,
plays 65, 70 games, first
looks
time
great.
in a long time, looks
Yep.
great, fabulous, giving you everything he needs, signs a contract, is out next year,
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
about 30,
So I
40
mean,
games.
Yeah, right. So I mean, that was my only, but that was the cool thing was like, yes, that was a questionable. But it's okay. We only give up the 22 pick for him, and then we got him for just a season, right? And you're right. Do we fall? Does he trick us? Maybe he does, but at least we're not dependent on him. You know, it's like if yeah, yes, he's a nice piece, but we added so many other we added depth. We've got the big thing we were missing last year was 3-point shooting. We got better 3-point shooting. We got better defense. I mean, could you imagine what Daniels and Alexander both in there in a game, and you got Jalen Johnson back there and Riche. You got that's the one thing about Riche.
I'm probably
He
more
may
excited
not.
about getting JJ back, man, to be honest with you.
I am very so no. That is very excited about getting JJ back, but just with Riche's defense, I mean that kid. That was the one thing I did. I mean, love about him in the beginning of the year because the shot wasn't there, right? It wasn't there, but he never. That kid never gave up on defense, and that's the thing, man. It's just there's just depth. It's just and
Played
we've gone
75
from
games.
what's that?
The kid played
Oh, who?
75 games,
Yeah,
Ricochet.
right, exactly. So I mean, it's just and then it's great because you're not looking at the five going, okay, we've got to ride these starting five out all every night. I mean, you can just do so many different lineups, which just makes you more competitive. You're not stuck waiting on Trey to do everything every night. I mean, you could rest Trey and not worry about the team letting you down because you got just defensive ball stoppers all in that lineup from your front to back court. So then that's why I'm excited about because we know the guys they got guys that can play. They got, I mean, Porzingis is your only question mark, but I mean, but everyone else is it's solid and heck, we've already we're predicted to be fourth in the to be the fourth seed this year. So I love it.
Really?
Let's go. Yep. The odds
That's
after
nice.
the draft after free agency, we went from I think what like bottom not playing, but like that more like that 7-6 range. Now we're into that top four, top five seed now. So where I see the Hawks predicted.
Well, I think we're going to leave it right there. This is Just the Stats. Eugene Morton, Reggie Johnson. Check us out. Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. See you next time.